All right then, so we've got the 9th race of round 4. Only 2 more heat races to go. These are the races that people are scoring points to try to make the semi-final. It's getting more and more obvious about who's going to be in it. We keep an eye on the scores later on. Meantime, we've got heat number 9. In this, we've got Carl Stevens, Marius Nowitzki, Dennis Holler, Robert Schechel, Arnaud Tinet, Michael Gerb, David Kart, Richard Jute, Giovanni Baccelleri and Mitch Powell. And what a lineup that is. It's going to be quite a tough one. Dennis Holler, of course, second in the World Championship last year. He was part of the Nations Cup winning team as well. So Dennis Holler, really spectacular there in the World Championship. Second in the championship to Michael Schottler, the German. Who also German actually, Dennis Holler German too. Marius Nowitzki, we've seen great things from him. Robert Schechel, yes. Arnaud Tinet, everyone's favourite Frenchman. And Michael Gerb. Michael Gerb, incredibly, Spanners, we've not had the two Gerbs have to race each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we'll see who the best.
Yeah, we might end up with them together in the semi-final or the final, should they do it. So that'll be interesting. David Kart, he's another potential there for victory. And of course, Richard Jute, you can never rule him out. Giovanni Baccelleri, well, he's going to be the first one out to qualify, and then Mitch Powell as well, and Carl Stevens too. So let's have a look at them. So there's Gerb, there's Michael Gerb, we're seeing on screen now. I don't know where he is in the line. I think he's near the back, further towards the tail of the lineup for those the orders qualified. There's Arnaud Tinet, the Frenchman, heading out onto the track there as he begins his qualifying run. They're on their warm-up lap. They go out and there's a warm-up lap, and then the time starts. So Richard Jute taking to the track. And there's David Kart. David Kart is going to be the last one out by the looks of things. Now there's Baccelleri, Giovanni Baccelleri. He's going to take take to the line for the beginning of his qualifying lap. Giovanni Baccelleri. We've seen some great performances from him. This one, he is up there in points, but another one who's really got to fight hard to be certain of a decent final likelihood and position, and one who may even scramble if things go his way. So Giovanni Baccelleri is leading the way on the lap. Dennis Holler, I think, was one of the early ones out as well. So it shapes up. Now here comes Baccelleri. Baccelleri crossed the line. He's going to be fastest, obviously. So there's Bacceleri's place. And is he going to be beaten? No, he's not. It's Carl Stevens in second place. He's up there. Nowitzki into third. And Baccelleri still hangs on in there. Beaten by Dennis Holler. Dennis Holler, the German, second in the world last year. Arnaud Tinet is in 5th, Mitch Powell down there in 7th, Michael Gerb is 3rd, it's still Dennis Holler, Richard Jute to 3rd, Schechel into 7th, and David Kart comes through to 4th, so Dennis Holler has held on. Dennis Holler has put himself on the pole position, 31.3 with the lap time, 31.3 all the way, it's the top 3 actually, for Dennis Holler in 1st place, Giovanni Baccelleri into 2nd, Richard Jute, the South African, in 3rd, David Kart, Michael Gerb, Carl Stevens, Marius Nowitzki, Robert Schechel, Arnaud Tinet and Mitch Powell brings him out in 10th place there. So they're getting that lineup sorted out as Dennis Holler prepares to lead the way.
James, I think Holler's just going to disappear here. I think in the last heat we saw him in, he was out of position, pitted in the clear, and then just ended up winning just by going around on his own.
You could be right, Spanners. The problem he's got is it's Giovanni Baccelleri in 2nd place who's fighting to get into the semi-finals. So Giovanni Baccelleri may well have something to say for that. But you are right, on paper it would look to be Holler's race purely on paper. But behind him, I think there's a few people with a different idea. Now, Richard Jute, remember, he favours this setup at Formula Fast. The South African is actually a regular here in the championships, and he's good on this way around. With the alternate layout, he struggles. Now, there's Holler taking the immediate lead, of course, from the pole position, with Giovanni Baccelleri behind him, and then the South African Richard Jute behind him too. So, David Kart is in 4th as they go round the snail, coming round the sweeper into the backstretch, so round the sweeping bend on the outside of the racetrack, down the backstretch to the corner there where we saw the patch, the mysterious patch this morning, and round they go through camera corner, crane camera corner, and real big close-ups we've been seeing as they cross the line. It is in fact still Dennis Holler, Baccelleri right on his tail, Richard Jute on the tail of David Kart. There's nothing to choose from. Michael Gerb is in 5th place behind David Kart. car. No reason to pit yet. There's a little bit of a gap opening up there to Carl Stevens, possibly from Gerb, and then there's a bigger gap back to Levicki and Chechel.
Did you see that move from Kart?
And what a move from Kart. He's taken Jute. In fact, Gerb nearly went with him.
I think he got away with that quite clearly.
He did. It was good. And so it's now Huller and Bachelari being chased down by Kart into the pits.
Yeah, Nowicki's into the pits. He's going to have an open road ahead. He timed that a little bit, but it's not critical. There's no one around him.
Yeah, that's it. Maris Nowicki, he's come into the pits. He's doing a Conor Marsh, isn't he? So there is Dennis Huller with the lead. He's got Bachelari right in his tail. A bit of a gap, David Kart, but David Kart's already opened up a gap to Richard Jute and Michael Gerb. So David Kart done everything he needs to do. All he needs to do now is get onto the back of the leaders Huller and Bachelari and make it a three-way race. Richard Jute.
Yeah, Richard Jute into the pits, and saying he's freeing this layout, then perhaps he's just giving himself clean air to go and do what he does best here.
Yeah, a bit of a settle down there, I think, for Richard Jute. He's not going to do himself any favours being in the tight scrap, especially that tight scrap.
Bachelari, you are absolutely right. That wasn't as neat and tidy as Chart's move.
It wasn't as neat and tidy, but it was as effective because Bachelari has taken Dennis Huller. He's taken Dennis Huller now. David Kart is all over the back of Dennis Huller. Dennis Huller has obviously lost time to Bachelari, but David Kart is trying to make the jump. He's trying to capitalise on that loss of time. Dennis Huller, second in the world last year, is under incredible pressure by Giovanni Bachelari, and David Kart is now behind him. And so the pressure from Bachelari up front is that Bachelari is going to get a lot of points. David Kart is under pressure. He's going to try and pass him. He's piled on the pressure and passed Huller.
I can't believe it. Kart's again in the same place.
Yeah. I think the only reason that was because Dennis Huller didn't see him do it before.
Yeah, but Kart's got so much pace here. Like, he's got frightening pace. He's on it.
It shouldn't work, but David Kart's been very difficult to reason with. He's making it work. And David Kart, now the question is, can he catch the race leader, Giovanni Bachelari, and actually pull the same move on?
I think he can. I'm saying yes.
Yeah, we'll see if Dennis Huller can actually do something about clawing his back, and will Dennis Huller actually even come in the pits?
I think he's in shock. I think he will be in shock from
Dennis
that move.
Huller is in.
Yeah, I think, it's a compose yourself kind of move, isn't it, for Huller? He didn't see that coming. Clearly, Kart has got some sort of amazing speed coming out of the final turn, and Holler is out safely. Yeah, but Kart is surprising down there. I think he's getting his nose alongside quite early, and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, David Kart's the one we're looking at now with the green helmet on screen. That's David Kart. There's Bachelari in the lead. There's David Kart. There's Michael Gerb. Now, Michael Gerb will know David Kart very well indeed. Both of them from Poland. They've done a lot of racing against each other. Michael Gerb is probably one will have had the best view and be the least surprised at David Kart's big long shots down the back of this back straight there, and the fact they worked. So David Kart really on a mission there to catch Bachelari. We're looking at Bachelari now. This is Giovanni Bachelari coming around the long sweeping bend towards the backstretch. There he goes. He's on the backstretch. Now we can see him head-on shot. There's David Kart. There is Michael Gerb. It's opened up a bit, but these guys are running at such a rapid pace, such intensity, that it's still quite a battle, even though there's 5 karts between them.
He has got one of the most distinctive head covers, hasn't he, Kart? That bright green.
Head cover? Oh, you mean helmet?
If we all call things different things.
Yeah.
Into the pits comes number 20, Mitch Powell. So we'll assume my last comment was correct and valid, as there's no time to correct it. He's going to come out hesitant but clean pit stop, and he's out on his own.
Yes, that's right. So big Kart with, what was it, the green head cover.
No, no one said.
What do you think about his coveralls? So, Giovanni Bachelari, he continues in lead. There he is. That's Giovanni Bachelari in the snail section. This is the slowest part of this setup. There's David Kart, and there's Michael Gerb, and that's Carl Stevens there. Now, Carl Stevens actually doing really well to hold on to those. He has... Oh, in the pit?
Yeah, Arno Tinne, he's in the pits. He's going to come out comfortably ahead of Mitch Power, having a decent race in the second half of the pack. Yeah,
he's 1 second ahead of Mitch Powell. There is Arno Tinne, the French driver, and as Bachelari continues on in the lead there, it is still Carl Stevens who's running 4th place. Now, Carl, he was 87th in the BRKC last year, but he has been the champion with D-Max. That's the other side of town, isn't it, here in Milton Keynes?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, that's right. That's Daytona racetrack there over at Daytona Milton Keynes on the other side of town. Outdoor circuit, so very different in approach really to this sort of racing here at Formula Fast.
I've just remembered I'm doing the 24-hour commentary, so yeah, no, it's a great track. Love those guys.
Yeah. Is Carl entered into that? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I'll find out.
It's probably, isn't it, if he's a regular over there as well. But here is Giovanni Baccelleri continuing on in the lead. He's got 1.5 seconds almost over the second place David Kart. In fact, 1.5 seconds is probably the kind of gap that Kart would start to consider some hero lunge, do you think, Spanners?
Well, I think I reckon he'll do it from here.
Yeah.
So I think, he's only about 10 kart lengths back, so that's close enough.
Yeah, so as long as David Kart feels he's within 10 kart lengths, he thinks the move is on.
Yeah. It's been so impressive, and it's surprised some really good drivers. These are some standout overtakes we just seen. Yeah, well, we're joking about it with David Kart with some serious lunges. It's very easy for those serious lunges to turn into a bad pass flag or even a penalty, isn't it? They weren't dirty, and they weren't clumsy. They were great.
Yeah, it's very easy to actually overdo it, if you like, and muck things up for yourself. And that's not what David Kart's doing. He's been really great moves by David Kart. He's holding that gap to Baccelleri at 1.49 seconds, which is pretty much what it was last time, so call it 1.5, you know. And he's managing to stay ahead of Michael Scherb. This is a very good showing by David Kart in a weekend, it has to be said, of good showings. At the end of each race, I make a little note of the top 3 for every race, and it has to be said, Spanners, I've been writing David Kart's name down quite a...
That's mainly because he's been in the top 3 a lot.
Exactly.
Yep. He was a vice something. Second place in the Karting World Championship in 2018. Wow. Yeah, that's right. KWC, he was second place, David Kart, so that's pretty serious. In fact, that matches Dennis Huller, who we were talking about earlier. He's now 6th place, is Dennis Huller. He made a pit stop, I think, to get away from what he was considering the madness around him. Dennis Huller, very considered sort of German, which you obviously expect from a German to be quite thoughtful and considered. And he's probably thought, this is getting a bit silly, this. I'm just going to mess myself up, though. I will pit and continue to run fast. Let's have a look at Dennis Huller's lap times. The fastest in this race at the moment is Giovanni Baccelleri. He has the fastest lap, but Dennis Huller is among the quickest. And in fact, has set a new personal best of 31.2 seconds. So he's running fast down to 6th place, Dennis Huller. Now, there is Baccelleri. He's caught a back marker. Now, and he is probably going to go for the pass. Mitch Powell is the one he's caught. It's going to be into the snail, surely. Down the inside in the snail, there's Giovanni Baccelleri. He's made the pass. Now, David Kart, of course, he won't need any second invitation, will he, Spanners? No, I'm just looking at Gerb here in the final section, and he does seem to just carry that little bit extra speed through that final hairpin somehow. It looks like he's going into the wall, but he seems to just make it stick.
Yeah, Michael Scherb seems to make that work, doesn't it? It doesn't look like it should work, but it does. It looks like the accident's about to happen, but then there's no sound.
Yeah, and like he's going to hit his head on the barrier. Yeah. He's leaned over that far.
You're expecting to hear the contact from the kart to the barrier, and it just doesn't happen.
They've got some back markers to deal with.
Yeah, and Michael Scherb should make pretty short work of anybody who's a lap down. We're looking at David Kart on screen, and there's Scherb behind. Scherb has in fact passed the tail ender, which in this case is Mitch Powell. Baccelleri continues on the lead. Now he's come up behind Arnaud Tinet. You can see that on screen. This is David Kart's chance to try and close in. Dennis Huller, meantime, we're going to keep an eye on him. He's still setting very fast times of the 31.3. And there's Arnaud Tinet, who's now ahead of Baccelleri.
Fight him, Arnaud. Yield nothing.
Well, that's what David Kart will want. In fact, Bacceleri's trying to go to the outside. Arnaud Tinet is on the right, and down the inside comes Baccelleri. And he's made the move. He's got the job done. But maybe David Kart will have closed in something. It was 1.7 seconds last time. Will the gap be down? Although David Kart in turn has to pass Arnaud Tinet.
So Tinet let him pass, but didn't give him the racing line, which was something Philpott was talking about earlier. And Tinet only gave him just enough room to get through and not lose any time. Yeah, I think what Brad was complaining about was the fact he had a driver in front who was sort of saying, there you go, take, but not really offering it. He was offering it, but not giving, if you see what I mean. David Kart's coming down the inside. Tinet waves him through. David Kart waves, thank you. I don't know what... Tinet's doing a Brad Philpott. He's obviously aggrieved. Let's see what... Tinet, it was David Kart. Let's see what the gap is. 1.5 last time. The same complaint that Philpott had,
And no surprise, David Kart is now more than 2 seconds behind. Gerb makes short work of Arnaud Tinet.
Carl Stevens in the pits. He's going to come out behind Richard Jute. So Richard Jute, job done as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, and half the entry have now made their pit stops. There's only 4 left to go. Bachelary, Kart, Gerb, Schechel, them's running at the front. So we're looking at Arnaud Tinet, the French driver.
Well, I mean, what are the rules on the blue flags? You've got to let them pass. It doesn't say, I've got to let you pass with the race line and give you a present with a bow on top, does it?
It doesn't, no. And I think a lot of what's going on is just the pressure involved with the quality of competition. Obviously, the leaders, they don't want to lose, they can't afford to lose a fraction of a second. We saw Kart, he didn't really lose much there, but it turned out to be over half a second, and yet for nothing, you know what I mean? There was no real massive block for over 3 corners. Certainly wasn't following Arnaud Tinet for half a lap, was he?
Gerb looks closer though.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised because Gerb was able to jump Tinet immediately. David Kart obviously feels he had to make a bit of a job of it, whereas Gerb was straight through. So it's very little surprise Gerb is slightly closer to Kart. There's Bachelari, the leader we're looking at on screen. Now he's got a 2.3 second lead. That's, from what we've been seeing so far, that could be classed as comfortable, couldn't it? Even if it is David Kart. Not even David Kart is going to attempt to lunge from 2.3 seconds back. Okay, he might think about it, but he probably won't do it.
The reason I didn't reply, James, was because I was sceptical and having a good think about whether he would do that or not.
Well, yeah, I think David Kart might consider it. But whether or not he would, I mean, I'm sure he could get alongside from 2.3 seconds back, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think we're all still just a little bit poor from the earlier moves, weren't we? So
yeah, because David Kart, the reason we're joking about him there, folks, those who watch on screen, is because David Kart has pulled off some amazing overtakes so far in this tournament. He's the one with the green helmet running in second place. So there's Giovanni Bachelari with the lead. David Kart just shot through there with the green helmet, and he has pulled off some incredible deep lunges into the most unlikely of hairpins as well. Here's David Kart now with the green helmet, but seriously for him, Michael Gerb is following. So there's David Kart, the Polish driver, and Michael Gerb, a champion from Poland, is following him. And Gerb is close in this race mostly due to an overtaking situation with the back marker. Kart took a little longer to get through, was waving and you know, looking around, all this kind of thing. Gerb, meantime, just shot through. Gerb, of course, one of 2 racing Gerb brothers, and they take their racing very seriously. Both of them very, very competitive drivers, and you know, in with a shout of winning. I mean, in the World Championship indoor, this is in 2018, Michael Gerb himself was second. So we've got, you know, David Kart has been second before, and so has Michael Gerb.
I think Michael Gerb is definitely going to be in the mix in the final. Like, he's going to be a spoiler. And I think if you want to win this competition today, Michael Gerb's a factor for you.
Absolutely. Just want to point out something, Spanners. This is more for the viewers at home on Motorsport TV, and also those watching on the live stream as well with the YouTube coverage. We've got a new caption down the bottom where you can see the pit stops that have been made. So if you look below what the actual track position at the moment, Bachelari leading the way. Look at the box below that. Dennis Holler has made a stop, Richard Jute has made a stop, Tinet has made a stop, Stevens, Nowicki and Powell have all made stops. Crucially, on that list is not Bachelari, Kart and Gerb.
Seigel comes into the pits, triggers it a little hesitant, gets on it. He's out in clean air, but it does look a little bit like Nowicki might. No, he's well.
Yeah, it's about 3 seconds. Oh, look at that close-up. David Kart. That's the kind of... we're getting a view of him that quite a few people have had of him on the track, as he's come sailing past from some of the longest shots we've seen all weekend as David Kart. Now, interestingly, Spanners, Michael Gerb has really closed in on David Kart. We know David Kart is fast, but Gerb is proving faster at the moment. Gerb is not fastest on the track, but he definitely was fastest on that lap of all the people in this race. So Giovanni Bachelari still has the record for this race, and he's taken it under 31 seconds. Giovanni Bachelari, yes, on his previous lap has tapped time 30.9, so that's very rapid.
We've got to be running out of time for the top 3 to pit, haven't we?
Well, they've got just under 5 minutes.
Oh,
Spanners,
ages.
so
wow,
a little bit of time, yeah. A lot of people have been in. It's only those 3 who've yet to pit. That's the 3 leaders, Bachelari, Kart and Gerb. I think Kart's got to be a bit worried about the pit stops, because if Gerb makes a half-decent one, it's possible he could leapfrog him. Kart maybe wants to stay out a little bit longer to, if anything, hold Gerb up, for want of a better phrase. If he does pit now, David Kart with the green helmet in second place, I think that all that will happen is Gerb at best will maintain that position, and there's a real good risk that Gerb may actually leapfrog him in the pits because he's able to go faster without David Kart in front of him.
I think you're right, but I think the time where Gerb is being held up has not yet dawned, because down that straight especially, Kart has still got a couple of kart lengths.
Yeah, it's tight. There's Gerb, there's the one we're talking about. I think Gerb, he's looking ever slightly faster should he have scope to be.
The thing is that Kart is quick off of the back section leading onto the main back straight, and that's one of the key overtaking points. So that's what's going to keep him ahead. So I think if we look at this, he seems to just somehow have better traction on that long sweeping left-hander.
This is the bit we're talking about there, Spanners, on screen, as you mentioned it. Now, down the back straight, now, by nature of the fact he can pull off these big lunges, David Kart, by definition, is also mega on the brakes at the end. Which means that he's actually making up time beginning and end of that straight. So that's really what's preventing Gerb maybe having to pop at him himself. He's coming onto the straight quick, and he's fast at the end.
Great point, James.
Yeah, we'll see how it shapes out, and we'll probably see even more if Kart was to pit first. I think Kart could do with pitting second. Far be it for me to impart racing advice to a winner at world level.
He's not going to hear you, though, so really you're just talking to, you know...
He might watch the replay and wish he had listened, though, mightn't he?
21, Baccelleri pits from the lead, immediately followed by David Kart. It both looks good. In fact, I would say Baccelleri is a little slow. He's upset with himself, so I can't tell you whether that's a clean stop or not.
Well, I tell you what, Spanners, that nearly got even more interesting, because Baccelleri went into the lead, but I was looking at Kart and Gerb, and Gerb raised his hand as if coming in the pits, and then backed out of it. So we almost had all three leads in. Now, had Gerb followed Kart into pits, that would have been completely ridiculous. So clearly, Gerb bailed out from his pit stop. We haven't seen a battle there, and that is Tine defending against
I've got
somebody.
an answer for you. It was a bad stop, and Baccelleri has thrown away. Unfortunately, there's no other word for it. I'm not trying to be mean, but he has thrown away this race win, and he must be absolutely gutted inside that helmet. Yep, he just is, and he goes out behind now Carl Stevens.
Oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness! Now that's going to be well, pretty crucial, isn't it? Right, so we need to get a bit of a handle on where people really are on the track.
Here comes Gerb. He's going for it. This is crucial now. I tell you what, it's looking good. We're seeing Chart coming round the right-hander and the final left-hander. And Gerb, where has he found that pace to be that far ahead on the pit stops? Incredible. Perhaps Kart lost a little bit more than we thought waiting for Baccelleri in the pits.
Yeah, added to the fact that I really do believe that Gerb wasn't running at his optimum pace following Kart. He probably thought, I don't want to pit because I don't want Kart running on his own, or he was worried about where he'd come out to. But certainly Gerb did look pretty capable of more when he was sat behind Kart. So I think Kart coming in, Gerb being released for a lap or so is what made the difference, added to what you're talking about, Spanners. So really, Kart lost out on a bit of a double-ender there. But the big loser, as you say, is Baccelleri. Baccelleri has just gone to pieces, hasn't it? He's down in sixth place.
Absolutely heartbroken for him. He'd done everything right in this race, but you do have to pull the pit stops off. In the finals especially, there's two of them in the finals, and it is part of this competition. And if you don't get it right, if you take too much risk and don't get that risk-reward equation right, it's going to sting you.
Absolutely, and Baccelleri, of course, is one of those people who arguably should know better. He routinely races in competitions to ban this. He's all over the back of Arnaud Tine. He was in the lead, he came in the pits, he lost to Michael Gerb, he lost to David Kart, he lost to Dennis Holler, he lost to Richard Duke, he lost to Carl Stevens. He's now passed Arnaud Tine, but that's only putting Tine a lap down. His next target is Carl Stevens, who's up ahead. So Giovanni Baccelleri, with 12 seconds to go, is pulling out all the stops. He's absolutely on it, onto the back stretch. There's Carl Stevens at the end of the straight, and there's Baccelleri coming right at him. He's making huge inroads on Carl Stevens, but will it be enough? Because they're soon going to be on to the last lap.
Well, it's almost, you've forgotten really that Holler qualified on pole. Where did Gerb qualify?
I think he was third.
No,
It was Holler, Baccelleri and Gerb, and that Holler it's almost reversed, isn't it? Because we've got Gerb, Kart and Holler. Let's have a look at this. Where is it? There's Baccelleri. Now, Baccelleri is a lot closer to Carl Stevens. There he is. He's right on the tail. He's right on the tail of Carl Stevens. We're going to be getting the last lap board any second now, but Carl Stevens is going to be fighting off Giovanni Baccelari, but that's only over 5th place. Baccelari is going to be absolutely distraught because this could put him out of the semi-finals possibly. He was looking to fight his way in. This is crucial for his whole weekend. It could well be an earlier flight for Baccelari. 39 laps in, it's the last lap. They're going to be bringing the checkered flag out any moment. It's going to be David Kart, 1 second up on sorry, not David Kart, Michael Gerb, who's 1 second up on David Kart. And then 3 seconds back from that. And here comes Michael Gerb, he's going to get the checker. We're on screen now, Michael Gerb wins, and there's David Kart. And next up's going to be Dennis Huller, the German, there he is. And then Richard Duke, the South African. Carl Stevens has managed to stay ahead of Giovanni Baccelari. That could well be Baccelari out of the competition. We'll see what the points are like, but it certainly does not look good for Baccelari, does it? I mean, against this field, can you pull off a 6th place in the heat race and actually make the semi-final? I'm not really sure this year.
Well, I was already heartbroken before I realised the connotations it would have for the semi-finals. But yeah, you've got a feel for him.
Well, obviously, you know, that is purely done on feel, and we'd have to check the numbers. I might actually be speaking out of turn, but I just can't see that how that is not going to seriously hurt Baccelari.
Oh, look at that.
Anyway, they come to you now, Spanners, so over to you in the pit lane, Spanners.
David Kart.
See who you can speak to.
Yeah, David Kart. I keep wanting to say Chart, but David Kart, he gave me a reluctant look, so perhaps he's somebody's, you know, not overly chatty, but let's see. He's going to come and talk to me in a bit because he really did pull off the moves of the race, and essentially he was fighting for 1st place. Those moves put him in the lead of the race, and it was only just that immense pace that Gerb had overall. He didn't have it in the right places to get past David Kart, but as soon as Kart was out of the way in the pit, the gap was unexpected. That was on 1 single lap that Gerb was able to pull that gap. Of course, David Kart had to deal with Baccelari in front of him, Baccelari not nailing the stop, perhaps because he knew he'd done a penalty pit stop, he'd stuttered and it didn't quite go as well as he wanted it to. And then, of course, heartbreaking for Baccelari, who went from the race lead to 6th place. And I hope for his sake, and most people hoping for his sake, that won't be the deciding factor in his involvement in the next stages. Let's see if I can get them over. Well, we'll start with Michael. I tell you what, get them both in together because that was a fantastic race there. You managed to overcome the delta and overtake him in the pits. That was a single lap's worth of pace that got you past.
Yeah, our pace was really similar. I made a huge mistake on qualifying, but we have the benefit that Giovanni failed his pits, so we
ended up in 6th, by the way.
Yeah.
And what about those moves at the start? They were incredible. You came from 18 kart lengths back to do it.
What?
You were really good on the overtakes, overtaking.
Yes. I don't know. Kart is very fast. I don't know. Very fast.
He's giving the kart the credit. I think we're going to give you the credit. It was a fantastic race, but this is our race winner. Yet another one for you, Michael Gerb. Thank you very much. That was great fun to watch. Great overtaking manoeuvres, and we'll see you guys in the semi-finals. Back up to you, James.